first wake-up call came when I was 37 years old, which is when I found out that I had a 75% blocked carotid artery, needed a bypass to my left arm, and had cholesterol that was just so high that if I didn't do something that I probably wouldn't have lived to see my 50th birthday. But that was kind of like the slap in the face that I got that, hey, you know, you are mortal, you're not going to live forever, and you better get serious about wanting to go forward. I started walking, and I would get through my half a mile and trudge my way back home. And you know, this was coming off just right at the end of winter at this point because it was like late March, so it wasn't horribly cold out, but it wasn't great out. But I don't like the treadmill either, so I like to be outside. And so I just started trudging through it. Every day I'd go out and I stretch it out a little bit farther. And by the end of about a month or maybe 5 weeks in, I was up to where I was walking almost 3 miles at that point. And I kind of just continued to do that 7 days a week. I'd make my little 2.5 to 3 mile circuit. And by the time we got into probably late October, I had dropped down to about 215, 220 pounds, somewhere around there. And I was not where I wanted to be, but getting to a point where I felt a little bit more energy. And I would start just jogging little bits of my 3 to 3.5 mile walk. And we had made a trip down into Missouri to see my brother back in November, late November, actually over Thanksgiving. And by the time we got to there, I had actually started running about 2 of the 3 miles. And it's like, I can do this. You know, and all of a sudden what I noticed is that I felt really good. I enjoyed running, and because I'm not a runner. I never intended to be a runner. I figured I would just walk my way through this. There came a point where I was in so much pain that I didn't want to keep running. It was like, I can't do this. And I would literally get to a point where it's like, God, you're going to have to help me through this thing because I can't do this. And I would find myself at the end of my prayer time asking for healing. And it's like, okay, I started asking for healing of my shins. The next thing, my shins are starting to heal. Now my knees hurt. So, you know, I mean, it was just kind of a continual thing. And, you know, through the whole thing, the healing has just kind of continued to come. And I've gotten to the point now where I can actually run comfortably. I, run 5 or 6 miles, and I'm not in pain anymore. So, you know, it's been kind of a strengthening experience as it's gone along. The culmination of it, obviously, I'd set in January. It really kind of was a joke. It started as that I wanted to do, actually I set a 5K at first in the Fifth Third Riverbank run, and I don't remember if it was my wife or who it was that said, well, do 10K. And so it's like, well, maybe I can. And I kept saying in the back of my mind, I can't. There's no way I could run 6.2 miles. I'm not going to be able to do this. And so I just, started thinking about it. It's like, yeah, it'd be a goal to set. If nothing else, I'll finish it. If I have to walk it, whatever I have to do, I'm going to finish this thing. It is hard to describe how I felt when I crossed that finish line. I mean, it was a feeling of excitement. It was a feeling of accomplishment. It was a feeling of, I just did something that I never would have dreamed in my life I could have done. And I ran this 10K with my son. He actually ran it ahead of me, but we ran it together. He was going to run it with me, but I knew he was going to be faster. I said, don't wait for me, just run your race. I'll meet you at the end. And he was waiting for me at the finish line. And he gave me a big hug, and it's just an indescribable feeling of accomplishment at that point. You need to trust God that you can have faith that if you ask for it, it will come, whether it's financial, whether it's health related, whether it's, whatever the trials that you're facing in your life, that if you have the faith that God will get you through it and will help you through it, it'll be there. And my motto has been just run through it. And again, whatever that particular problem for you is, if you just have the faith that you can just run through it, God will give you what you need to get through that.
He's not finished with me yet. He's not finished with me yet.